My name is Rachel, and first of all, I'm an employee and a student at the University of Cambridge, so I kind of have both of those things, both those perspectives going on. My relationship and history with it is complex. My mother tried to advocate in school when I was very young that there was something, and she was told I was just stupid. Sorry, Rachel's just not very bright. So that never went anywhere, and for me, all the way through sort of school and large part of my, first 10 years or so of my career, I always thought that I was just faulty. Everyone else could do things. I couldn't. I couldn't see any strengths at all. I was just wrong. And then there were some things which I just didn't realise weren't how other people experienced the world. I just thought that, and then I was doing my master's, and I was really struggling because before I'd always adapted, we sort of found ways to do things. And then the way this master's was structured was such that it was like the worst way for me. The amount of reading was phenomenal because it was entirely seminar-based. So you had 4 2-hour seminars a week, and you had a massive pile of reading. And then, in these 2-hour seminars, if there was a big group, then that would have been okay. But no, a lot of the time there was only 2 of us. There were 3 of us, but one dropped out to go into rehab. I think that tells you a lot about the course. It wasn't here, just for context. And I just even more felt wrong. But then it was suggested to me, maybe you're, dyspraxic or dyslexic, but we can't test you for dyspraxia because you're too old. Because at that stage, it was something that only could get diagnosed in children. So we said, we'll send you to an ed psych. We will get you tested for dyslexia, and then that'll pick up some things and we can kind of help you a bit. So I got the diagnosis of dyslexia with a bracket, probably dyspraxic. And then my supervisor for my master's dissertation was like, well, are you happy now you've got a label? So not really met with much understanding. And again, just went through, continued, just, not something that was spoken, that it was just a deficit. And my much, much younger brother, when he was doing his undergrad, he got diagnosed with ADHD. He went through a really complex, full-on thing because he was part of a research study. And he's like, you have ADHD. And he kept pressuring me over the years and years. And eventually I did have an assessment. He went with me and they were like, yes. Problem is they never submitted it. So I've got nothing on medical records about it, even though I've had a double yes. But I didn't chase it because for me, I was like, oh no, I can't have ADHD. I was like, oh no, I can't, no, I can't acknowledge that. It was just complete denial. And all I could think of was being faced with judgment, that the DVLA would take away my driving license because my brother had been refused the provisional because he had ADHD. Interestingly, when he met a group of other people, all the women had a problem. Only the men in the group had problems with the DVLA. And again, I think that shows you so many underlying assumptions and that connection with high risk, deviant behaviours, which is this, I think it's really interesting. There was a number of years ago, there was a question asked in Parliament about ADHD provision, going back at least 10 years now, and the minister, whoever it was, responded, was like, we've got wonderful provision, we've done loads about it, we've got all these programmes in prisons, because the assumption was people who have ADHD end up in prison. And that that was only about 10 years ago. However, I now work in an EDI role, and I have embraced it. I'm seeing it as positive. I started mentioning just the dyslexia, not the ADHD, but just the dyslexia in interviews as, I've got dyslexia, and that means I can mind map. I can do all these, but it was like, but I had really pushed that it was this amazing thing. But also knowing that it had drawbacks, because I'm not better or worse than anyone else, I'm just different.